I learned more in that internship than I learned in anything else in college.
Welcome to the Insurance Refocused podcast, where we're highlighting real agent stories and how they are innovating to respond to the changes and challenges happening in the independent insurance industry. My name's Lindsay, and I can't wait to introduce you to my amazing co-host, who just so happens to be my mom, Carey Wallace. Mom, how you doing today?
I'm having a great day, Lindsay. How is your day going?
It's going good. It's getting back into the swing of things after the holidays. I feel like this in between holiday period is always so hard to get in, but get in and do the deep work, but doing our best. I think it's the perfect time to podcast and look forward to the next year. What do you think?
Agreed. I was actually just did a post today about what I was thinking about 2024, the things I was thinking about 2025, and the things that I've asked myself in planning for 2025. And honestly, it was something that I spent some time with my team on today. Are we serving our clients well? Do they know how much we care about them? It's not about the metrics. We've hit the metrics, but it's about, are we creating the experience that they want? Are we actually moving the needle and helping them? So I agree with you. I think this time of year, a lot of people are thinking about reflecting on 2024 and then looking forward to 2025. I know I am.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things I've been thinking a lot about, and I want to talk about a lot this podcast, is bringing talent into the industry. And our guest today, Andrew Darlington, is one of the people who I think is doing this in an incredibly unique way. So I'm super pumped to have him here today to talk about it and give us a little look under the hood of Veritas Insurance. Andrew, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me today.
Yeah.
So one of the main things, Andrew, I know that we've had Jonathan on, and I've had the chance to connect with Jonathan quite a bit. He's such a great guy. Really enjoyed getting to know him a little bit more. But he came to work for you guys through a client, through your internship program,
Yep.
Which is not, there's no direct way into the insurance industry, that's for sure. Insurance kind of finds you, but it seems you're always posting that you have interns. Seems like you have this great internship program. I'd love to talk about that a little bit deeper today. So kick us off with, how did this even get started? Was it intentional? Just give me the basics on your internship program.
Yeah, so I had an internship when I was in college, and I learned more in that internship than I learned in anything else in college, I will gladly say. And it wasn't insurance. It was actually, I sold books door to door at the Southwestern Company. I don't know, you probably know some folks who've done that. Great company. I hated every minute of it. It was the most miserable thing I've ever done in my entire life. I cried. So you work 80 hours a week. I probably spent 40 hours a week on a curb sobbing because I hated it so much. But I did very well. I was in the top 40 of all the rookies, and so I did well. I didn't have an option. I needed to do it to be able to pay for college. I had to pay for my way through college, but I made a lot of money back in the day going through that. And because of that, I wanted to be able to offer some type of internship, because selling books is not for everybody. I want to be able to offer some type of internship and get people understand what insurance is, because I love insurance. There's so many different facets of insurance. It's not just selling insurance. There's marketing, there's customer relations, there's management, there's all sorts of things. So in my opinion, anything that you enjoy doing in life, it can be done inside the insurance umbrella. And it's a great business. It's a great industry. We need to have more young talent into the industry to help it grow. And so I wanted to be able to do that with the agency. And since I've had, even my old agency that I had, we actually brought in a couple of interns there and kind of went through the process, not as much as we're doing now, but it was still a good experience. It grows you as me as a person, and hopefully it grows them a little bit as well. So that was kind of the impetus of an internship, because it meant so much to me and I was able to learn a lot. To move on from there, we started interns probably in my fourth year of this agency. So I had an agency with a partner from, I was hired into that agency in 97. In 2000, I became a partner. And then I was partners until 2009 and then started this in 09. So about 2013, 14 is when we had our first intern. And it hasn't been as formal as it is now, but I just look for sharp people. If I found someone that was sharp and I could use, I would talk to them about, hey, let's look at doing this. And so that's kind of how it got started, kind of on a big general view of it. And so I'll let you ask other questions. We can kind of go from there. I'm happy to dive in a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I have a mentor, and we were recently talking about interns, which is what sparked like, oh crap, you know what? We've never had Andrew on the podcast to talk about this. But I actually had my first intern this summer. Her name was Celia, and absolutely loved her. She was amazing. It was my first time ever like managing someone myself, like not having like someone else telling me like, go tell this person that, like a coworker. Like I was actually in charge of her, which was insane because I should not be in charge of anyone. But it really made me realize that interns are more of a responsibility than, I don't even want to say that she was not help, because she was such a big help to me. She really helped me get a lot of crap done over the summer. But I felt more of responsibility like, hey, what do you want to learn? And let me make sure to readjust almost everything that I have in order for you to get the experience that you want. And I think that's maybe a difference in between a good internship and a bad internship. Like maybe that's why you cried every single day when you were selling those books, because you didn't have what do you call someone who is like the manager? Well, I guess it's just a manager of an intern. But you didn't have a manager who was tailoring the experience to be exactly, what you were interested in, where you were looking to grow. But I find that interns, at least for me, it was more of a responsibility and a more of like I want to make sure that this person's getting everything they want, rather than I want to make sure I'm getting everything I need from this person, Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things I learned this past summer, because I actually had 4 interns this summer, which is a lot. And I realized 4 interns can't do. In a smaller agency, so there's 14 of us, including me, and including one. We have one intern who's continued during the school year. That's a lot to do, and so I will not have 4 interns at this scale right now. Future, yes, but it was hard being able to make sure everyone got the attention that they need, and I did a very poor job on it. And that's one of the things I think hopefully you learned this summer, Lindsay, and I've learned is a lot of it pulls back and exposes you for who you are I think as a team, because I start to understand I don't have these procedures in place that I can give to an intern and say, okay, here's how we do this. Correct. It's like, oh, crud. We just do it. And so those are the things that it does. It makes you introspective. I mean, that's one of the great things about it is you start to uncover a lot of the areas where you're failing as a team leader, as a boss, and as a team in general. And you start to understand, you also understand some things you're doing well, because the interns are going to say, hey, I really enjoy this. And I wanted them to tell me what we were doing bad as well. I said, tell me what we're doing bad, because we have to improve. And so you do get both ways. I mean, hopefully you're going to be encouraged a little more than you are discouraged, but it exposes you for who you are. And I think internships expose the student for who they are as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Completely.
Andrew, how did you decide? We all know that there's stumbling blocks or roadblocks to everything. And some people might think, well, I can't really use an intern because they're not licensed. They're not this, they're not that. They might be limited. I hear the same thing about using a virtual assistant also. So how did you decide inside your agency what was the best roles and jobs and responsibilities to give to an intern. So if someone's listening to that and thinking, I'd love to do that, but man, how do you discern which things to, you've done this for several years. So give them an idea of how you went through that process.
A lot of what I've done in the past is I found something I needed to be done and hired the intern for that. So I didn't just bring in the intern. I said, okay, I need this done. And so I hired someone as an intern to do that. The first few of my internships were, I've got Salesforce, and it is a great beast at
Yes,
times.
it is.
And so I actually hired some computer science majors that I said, hey, listen, I need some programming done with Salesforce. And I brought them in to do some creation. I told them what I needed. I had enough knowledge where I could look over them to make sure that what they were doing is correct. And so I hired one. He did a great job. He was able to figure out some stuff. And in that sense, what I did is Salesforce has a lot of training that you can say, hey, go to here, learn this, learn this, learn this. And so I was able to give them a path, but I gave them what was successful with that one was I need you to do this specific task, and here's what it's going to look like when it's done. Go for it. And so he had the skills to be able to do that. And so that is what really helped with that one. I'll give a funny story on my second one that came in doing that. We were doing some integration with Salesforce, and I love Sly Broadcast. And so this was a long time ago when I first used it. And so we were trying to make an integration between Sly Broadcast and Salesforce. And I told him, I said, listen, I need this done. We need to figure it out. Call the guy. He's like, what? I said, yeah, call the guy who owns Sly Broadcast and ask him. So he did. Ended up what happening is the guy ended up hiring him away from me, which I was thrilled. So he got a job in programming with that dude, and he actually created the Sly Broadcast for Zapier. So the Zapier, he actually created it while working with me. And then he also created the Salesforce integration with Sly Broadcast as well while he's working for me. So that was a real big win because he's a neat fella, and he's able to do that and then go on to have experience, because by the time he graduated from college, he had already had 2 published apps that were live in app stores. So it was pretty good, pretty cool.
Yeah, Andrew, I'm kind of with you. But I had an internship in college as well. It was by far the thing that taught me the most because it gave me real world experience. Like there's something to reading, I have a finance degree. So reading a business problem and being able to solve a hypothetical problem is fine, but actually living it and having to do some analysis and actually present to someone like, hey, this is why I think you're losing market share. And this is what I've observed. And these are the things that I'm thinking about. And take all that knowledge that you had and make an application. There's nothing that can, there's no hypothetical that can replace something that's real world. So how cool is that? Because I'm sure that intern did not think I'm going to have an internship in a small independent insurance agency and then get a programming job with a tech company, which is kind of cool, right?
Yeah. It was neat.
You are definitely putting the insurance is cool or insurance is sexy right into the middle of our industry. Yeah. I love that. I absolutely love that. So how many interns have you had total?
Crud.
Ballpark it for me.
15.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, we, for the most part, we've had one since I've had Veritas since year 4, almost every year. And a couple of years we've had 2. 2 worked well. A couple of years we've had, last year we had 4. But for the most part, about 1 a year, pretty much going forward.
Yeah. Do you think it's easier to have 2 rather than 1, so they have like a buddy to hang out with and bounce ideas off of that's like kind of their same skill set level?
It is. It depends though, because in a smaller agency like we are, I mean, we're not massive. Like I said, just 14 of us. But in a smaller agency, one of the things you mentioned here was about having the work for them to do for unlicensed. There's only a certain amount of work you can do. So it's hard to have two interns doing the same thing, because if they're halfway decent, they're going to knock it out pretty quick.
Right.
And so you can't do that. So yes and no. Having young people in the office is nice. I mean, one of the best things, honestly, is Jonathan Lugo, because he's young. He did the internship. So the interns really like talking to him, see what he did and that type of thing. And I mean, Jonathan is 1 in a billion. I love my kids. I think my kids are awesome. I think Jonathan's awesome. He's just, you don't find those people anymore. I mean, there will never be another Jonathan Lugo. I mean, the kid's smart. He's industrious. He's thinks outside of the box, and he's just a great person to be around. And so having that type of caliber of person in your office really helps push those other ones, because they see what he's doing and where he is, and it kind of inspires them. And if I can go off on a tangent, so my current intern, so we brought in him with one of our carriers, and they kind of had an internship program, ended up not being an internship program because I thought it was in it. And then I found out I wasn't in it, which was kind of odd, but anyway, but still brought the guy in. We got him licensed as he came in. And so the first 3 weeks we had him get licensed. He told me later, he said, don't do that. He said, bring them in. We're college students. We're used to studying. Bring us in, make us get licensed immediately. Don't do anything else. Just license. You do the 40 hours, get it done. In Tennessee, it's 40 hours, and get licensed, and then move on. Don't try to throw other stuff in there. We don't need it. We can concentrate. We can get it done. So if you've got someone that's, hopefully you're going to hire smartness. I recommend hiring smart people, not dumb people, for both working with you and interns. But that's one thing we learned this time is we're not going to spread out the licensing, if they're going to get licensed, because not all of our interns have been licensed.
Right. I was about to ask that.
But anyway, so as we started going through some stuff, we started talking, and this kid loves guns, all about guns, shoots guns all the time. And so Jonathan has his niche with the real estate E&O, and he's now, I'd say, one of the top 2 people in America that knows real estate E&O. He knows it like the back of his hand. It's awesome. So this young man, Evan, was like, that's cool. I like that. And I was like, well, let's look for a niche for you. And so it didn't take long that guns are his niche. And so he's been working with Jonathan, and he's creating his niche. It's a 2 AFBI, so Second Amendment Firearms Business Insurance. And so he's gotten a logo. He's talked to some folks, got a logo. We're doing websites. He's creating blogs right now that we're storing for later to start going out. And with him, what we did is he got licensed. So he's been working in commercial lines, helping us with renewals and those types of things to kind of get his feet wet so he understands insurance in general, but kind of I told him on your own time, not my time, but you start learning, because if you're going to be good in insurance, it's not 40 hours a week. You're going to be doing stuff on your own time. You've got to. It's just, there's not enough time in the day to be able to do your work and then do other stuff. So he's been doing that. And it's neat because he has a stack of blogs ready to go out. Wow. He has his logo. He's been posting on Facebook and LinkedIn just to have got an internship. What do you think about this? And he's actually got a prospect from it as well, which is cool. And so him being able to see Jonathan and what he's doing has really inspired him, because he's like, I never thought I'd want to do insurance when I did an internship. It's pretty good money. It was local. I thought I'd do it because he's an accounting major. And now he's like, I didn't realize I could do guns. It's what I love. And so he's like, this is awesome. And so it's neat because kids don't understand, and I don't think most adults even understand, there's so many options in insurance. And if there's something that you're passionate about and love, you can make a good living doing it. And it's play. All you do every day is play. He's like, it's awesome. I get to pick up the phone and talk to people who sell guns for a living. And we just talk about guns. It's great.
Yeah. How awesome would that be? So I have a niece who lives in Texas, and she's, actually Lindsay and her were very, very close because they both rode horses. They were both jumpers. And, I talked to her, she's getting her finance degree or her business degree. And I'm like, have you thought about insurance? Imagine talking to other, farms and people in that world every single day. You just need to know how to help protect them.
Mhm.
And so I hope I can get her thinking that way, because I think it's an unbelievable, one of the hardest jobs in the world is to be a trainer and be successful in it and actually earn enough money to actually, do the hobby that you love, which is super expensive. But if you sell insurance or you get involved in the business side of that world, you can be far more successful. And
Mhm.
it's so funny. Nobody thinks of insurance. It's almost like the sleeper in the room, but it is the answer to a lot of people to be able to do what you're passionate about. I
Yeah.
certainly never in a million years thought that insurance would be the place that I would use my finance degree, but I get to meet all kinds of entrepreneurs that know more about different parts of the world than I've ever imagined. And they're fascinating, absolutely fascinating and innovative entrepreneurs. So I don't need a tech startup in order to do this. I'm able to do it right here with people that care about their community. So, Andrew, you said for a second about a carrier internship. And I just want to pull on that thread a little bit, because I came from an association and we had what I thought was the Mac Daddy of internship programs. So, um, the young person would actually go to the carrier for a couple weeks. They would go to the association for a couple of weeks. We would put them in an agency for a couple of weeks. And the whole idea was they would get a feel for the industry and hopefully go to agents. Well, what ended up happening is college students, when they get to the carrier, they ended up going to the carrier because there was more money at the carrier. And I don't think there was a long enough time. Is your carrier at all involved in your internship program? And if so, how did you involve them?
So the answer is because I didn't get in it. There was not a lot of involvement. They did. So what they did is they did have all the interns that were supposed to be nationwide. They would have Zoom calls with them,
Yeah.
and then they have some trainings periodically on personal lines, commercial lines, that type of thing. And so they did a little bit there, but it wasn't anything robust like that. Because, what you got to realize, and I had grandiose visions, is if you got a summer internship, you have a max of 12 weeks. That's it. Then you have their vacation time. Their family wants to go somewhere, so you're usually out at least 1 week on that. You have 4th of July. You might have some other holidays in there. So you got to squeeze everything into 12 weeks. You don't know anything in 12 weeks.
That's right.
And so it's really difficult to pull someone in. And that's why with this last internship, we were really looking for someone who wanted to come in the spring, when the school ended, summer, whatever you want to call it, and then go for a year. We want a year. And this is perfect. He's a senior, doesn't have a heavy loaded senior year, and was able to continue with us. And so he's solid right now. And so he started in May, and he's solid right now. Can do commercial lines renewals, little small BOP renewals by himself, and those types of things, which is really nice. So he's come a long way, but it had to be focused like that. I would love to do it, but we're in Johnson City, Tennessee. So he'd have to fly, stay to do that. So it makes it difficult. Utilizing the online things are good. We also have some other online tools that we use for training, onboarding new employees. And so we had them do some of those trainings as well. And so that's what we utilized.
Yeah. I honestly think, even if you tried to squeeze it in, imagine trying to learn a carrier and an agency. And there's no possible way you could grasp that 2 weeks here, 3 weeks there, no possible way. I'm glad that isn't part of your program, because I think it would actually be confusing for someone who's trying to get their feet under them. So, yeah.
Well, and you know as well as I do, even licensing and then the real world of insurance is
Super
completely
hard.
different.
100%.
And so, but let me turn on another thing though.
Yeah.
Where I talked about projects, I think projects are very good. And that's one of the things I learned. If you're hiring someone for a short period of time, a 3-month summer internship, a fall or whatever, find a project that you need done and then let them do it. And you're going to get value out of it because it's a project you need done. On the flip side, they're going to get some value out of it. They're going to be able to see something completed at the end and they'll be proud of it. And so it's a win there. It's a win for you. It's not a shotgun approach. It really needs to be a rifle approach. You find out and you knock that thing down and you kill it.
Yeah.
And you can utilize folks with your type of degree, analyzing your financials, those types of things if you want to do that, pulling reports out of your AMS, monitoring those things, looking back, social media. Every kid can do social media. Let them do that. Let them do, if you have an AMS like I do, let them do some automation that you needed done. Those types of things. Those are great projects that can get done in that shorter period of time. And those work very well. Pulling in, obviously, folks that have marketing degrees can go into your Google Analytics and those types of things, help you out and be able to help you with your web pages. Those are great internships, great opportunities to introduce folks that never would have thought of doing this in the insurance industry into that and possibly bring them in and even full time. Jonathan's brother came and worked for us for a while. And I mean, if the last name's Lugo, I'm going to hire you. So if you're watching, you just call me and we'll hire you. He came in, did a great job. Our Google rankings went through the roof after he went through, got through doing some stuff. And then we were able to take that and continue on with it and use it. And now he's got an internship from he's got a full-time job from a friend of mine working remotely now. And so just a neat situation. But I would say find those projects that you can get done, let them have the reins on it and go for it.
Yep. I think that's one of the biggest lessons that I would have had from my summer internship. I tried to structure it as much as it was a marketing internship, and she really, really wanted to do campaigns. And I didn't necessarily have campaigns. I had like, I'm treading water, I'm trying to stay alive type deal. Like, hey, like take as much as you want. And I wish I would have structured it more as a project of here's where we're starting, here's where we're ending. And I think I easily could have done that even with like, okay, I'm trying to stay alive. Like, I need you to like swoop in with your cape and help me. Easily could have. But that is definitely one of the biggest lessons I learned over the summer. One of the things that I do want to touch on a little bit is in order to have internships, and maybe this is also a Jonathan question, but you really have to hook young talent nowadays. Like that's not something that's easily. I'm young and my attention span sucks. Like in order for me to like be into something, I have to like really, really care about it. So were there intentional or manufactured things that you did in your agency, or is it just something that's naturally occurring?
Yeah. How did you hook new talent to want to come to an agency? Like what did you do to attract?
Work with me? I mean, come on now. I mean, that's simple. That's not even a good question. Come on. I mean, they meet me, they're like, where do I sign up?
I've seen you do that basket in the pool. I don't know what that was, but it's very memorable, right?
That was it.
That's funny.
So, it is a sales job. I mean, I will tell you that. I mean, we're in insurance. If you own an agency, you probably were a producer at one point in time. If you have a good one, you got to try to sell them on it. And so that is part of it. And I mean, you've got kids that just don't know what they're doing. Okay. And so if you can explain why this industry is great, the opportunity is available, and why it's good, you should be able to hook them in. Now you can't pay them $8 an hour. I mean, we're paying our interns a nice wage. And so we get nicer interns.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not going to get someone for $8. You're going to get crap for $8. But pay them a good wage, show them that this is a long-term deal, and you go forward. One of the things that we did this year, and I think we'll push it forward, is we said, hey, here's the internship opportunities inside of our agency. What interests you? And so when they applied, they said personal insurance, business insurance, employee benefits, client service, marketing, analytics. And so it would, for anyone to know that it's not just, oh, I'm going to sell insurance. No, because there's only a handful of folks that can actually sell insurance. It's not for everybody. If I had to be a client service person for the rest of my life, I don't know what I'd do. That's just not me. Because I can't do it. I'm too disorganized. I can't do it. Everybody has their own skill set. But like I said at the beginning, I really think that insurance, the great thing about it, and even an agency, not even going to a carrier level, is that there is a place for everyone in an agency, because it's a business. You need all those different positions in a business if you're going to grow and you're going to scale. And so give those opportunities for them. And if you can show them something that piques their interest, then that is one of the hooks that's going to bring them in. And so I think that was it, is, hey, what do you want to do? And most internships are not what do you want to do? It's you're going to do this. And to show that you're a human, you're an adult, we are going to treat you like an adult, and we're going to give you a project to do. And so I think that's one of the hooks that does bring in. I mean, other than me, but it's that's what you've got to do. And I would say the other thing is treat it like any other interview, and call the references and those types of things. I actually had someone that I didn't hire because I checked a reference and he had lied in an interview.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, well, I know that guy. I'm going to call him. And so I would say definitely do those as well. But I think that's the hook. Give them opportunity. People want to be autonomous. They want to be able to do something they enjoy. Give them those opportunities.
And that's a huge learning curve for that intern that didn't get hired. Like, listen, we're not just going to take everything at face value. This is the real world. This is not, your first job. This is what it's going to be like when you're out there on your own. So you need to be held to the same standard as anyone else. So I love that, Andrew. I think that if you were really reflecting back on your agency and the impact that internships have made on your agency, knowing that you've got your superstar from that, I'm sure other agents would be thinking to themselves, like, why am I not doing this? Why in the world am I not leveraging new talent to come into my agency and think in a fresh and new way? So I think that if anyone's listening to this, you've at least given them some things to think about and some ways to think about their own agency and how they could innovate. It's not always get the new technology or do whatever. Sometimes it's leverage people that are hungry for jobs and hungry for mentorship. And if I know one thing about agents is they care about people. So it would be a great option for a lot of people. If somebody wants to reach out to you, Andrew, and say, man, I really want to do this, but I'd like to dig deeper and really structure something and have you help them with that, how could they reach you?
We're on about every social media and websites, veritasrm.com. And you can hit the chat button, eventually get to us. Did the magic of the interweb, and can reach out. One thing we did as well is I did a webpage just for internships.
Oh.
With information on it. And I think that helped because we did see some uptick on that where people were looking at that website once we'd sent that out. I mean, the easy things, work with your local college, we call it the departments where they
community college or placement area.
Yeah, the placement type folks. So I went to all the colleges around and talked to all those folks, and I had a conversation with them. I didn't just send them an email, had a conversation, because they get a bunch of those. But then when you talk to them and you can explain what you're doing, they're like, oh, and then they start to actually find folks for you rather than just, oh, there's an internship. And so I would really, really recommend that. And then I did a video on my website about why I think insurance is great. And so they had that, they could apply there. There was a video there from me to give them more of a human touch and to give them an idea of what they're going to be looking at. And we've kept that up year round. And so just you have to continuously do that. You can't say in May, I'm going to do an intern, because chances of you getting a good one are slim to none at that point in time. And I would also say, don't push it. If you don't have a good one, don't do it, because it is going to take your time. And if you're not going to have someone that is going to be a good fit in your agency and can work independently and can do a project, you're going to be frustrated and they're going to be frustrated, and it's just not going to work out well.
Yeah, I would agree.
Completely.
I totally agree. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Andrew, and talking about internships. I hope that it helped. I know it helped someone. There's no two ways around that. And I hope you and your family have a wonderful holiday.
Thanks, y'all too. It was good talking to you guys.
Great talking to you.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Insurance Refocused podcast. If you enjoyed the episode, please be sure to hit subscribe and leave us a review so you'll never miss us. Want to learn more about how Agency Focus can help you grow your agency? Head to agency-focus.com or email Carey directly at carey@agency-focus.com. If you need to get in touch with me, feel free to shoot me an email at lindsay@agency-focus.com. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.